A normal phenomenon that occurs in any relationship is one where a lot of times your partner or the other person you're in a relationship with doesn't really listen to you. They don't listen to what you're saying. You could say the sky is blue to them and they will be contrarian, they will fight you. It will become an argument, it become a source of contention in a relationship because they just don't want to hear what you have to say. And then the frustration is greater, exacerbated when somebody else comes along and says the same thing that you were saying, maybe differently, but it's the same thing nonetheless. And then you're like, what was that about? I can't, this person doesn't listen to me. This person doesn't respect my opinion. This person doesn't hear what I have to say. It's almost like they just don't care what I'm saying. I remember as a child growing up in Barbados, my mom and my dad took us with them. We did everything together as a family. And my dad, he had a car, a Toyota Corolla, and he took us to teach my mom how to drive. Now, can I tell you, I was already dreading it before it even happened. I was like, what's he thinking? I was in my teens, but I knew it was a bad idea. But he somehow convinced himself that he could do it. He could teach my mother how to drive. So we went up to the Sweetie factory. Anybody from Barbados would know what I'm talking about. And we were driving and we were in the back seat as kids. And I remember my mom getting scared because a car was coming. She didn't expect a car to be up there driving. They had the same idea we had to teach somebody else how to drive, and she lost it. And she lost control of the car. And my father was like, big argument ensued. He lost his stuff. And I remember that incident always because I remember thinking he could have hired somebody else to teach her how to drive. But instead, he was insistent that he would teach her how to drive. Why is that? Why do we complicate our lives? Why do we make our lives more difficult than they have to be? Why can't we find solutions and compromise that negate the whole aspect of arguing, raising your blood pressure, raising your stress level? Why? Let me tell you why. We do that because a lot of times we want to be the person who can bring this person into a new experience, or we want to say, you know what? They trust us enough where we can exhibit that we can be trusted. It's not about trust always. Sometimes it is, other times it's not. Like that whole thing with my parents driving wasn't about trust. It was that my father felt that he wanted to be the person that would teach his wife, the love of his life, something that nobody else would teach her. He took it personally. It was personal for him. How many times are things in your relationship personal instead of being pragmatic or practical? Ask yourself that question. So a lot of times there are people in relationships that don't know how to ask for help. And I'm going to read this off again. They don't recognize the need for help. How many people are in a relationship with somebody who doesn't think they need help, doesn't want help, doesn't even want to talk about the word help? They don't know how to ask for help. The cries for help have fallen on deaf ears. Sometimes there are people in the relationship saying, I need to see a therapist. I need to see a counselor. We need help. And the other person's like, we're good. Other people did it. We're going to do it. It's just like raising the baby and bathing the baby. No, it's a little different with a relationship. Or they don't look for help at all. Or they don't even know how to ask for that help, period, right? So a lot of that has to do with frustration and building frustration, not just in you as a person who wants to help the person, but in the relationship with the person. Because if you're dealing with someone who doesn't know how to do any of those things, who doesn't recognize they need help, who doesn't understand why they would need help, or doesn't think that help would benefit them, or they don't know how to ask for help because they're so proud, because pride is a big thing with people who don't know how to ask for help. And another thing is ignorance. They may not realize that the issue that they're dealing with is one that even though they've lived with it for a certain amount of time, that is not normal. And it doesn't matter how abnormal you tell them that behavior is, they're gonna kick their heels and huff and puff because they don't want to hear you tell them that something is wrong with them. Back to the car thing with my parents. A lot of times in relationship, your partner does not want to hear that you don't think that they're the best thing since sliced bread. They don't like your criticism, and they view it as criticism, even though it's not designed to hurt them. It's designed to build them. And it's a common occurrence. You could say the same thing as somebody else said, like I said, and they will take it differently. But why, when coming from you, it seems like World War One? Because the expectation they have for you is one where they want to keep the whole honeymoon phase alive. They want you to stay in the moment where you idolize them, where you see them as a god, and where you treat them as a god. And the moment you defer from that god status and you think about them as a human being, they can't handle it. They don't know how to deal with it. And then they start detaching emotionally and they start withdrawing. I'm here today to tell you that you need to do self-examination in the relationship. Don't wait till the other person points out things. And if they do point out things, don't take those things personally as a criticism. Or sometimes people do that. They do criticize you for no reason because they're miserable and unhappy and they don't know that they need help. Yeah, I understand that. But today I'm here to address you as an individual within a relationship, because I think that all relationships are about two individual people coming together, and it's not just about addressing the whole relationship. Do self-inventory. One of my favorite authors, James Allen, says, man wants to change his circumstance, but is unable to do the work. You're not able to look at yourself objectively. You're not able to say, you know what, maybe what they're saying is right. And maybe instead of just ignoring it or being bullheaded or stubborn or whatever it has you to the point where you are immovable, maybe I need to consider this, because if it can enhance the relationship and enhance the communication in the relationship, maybe it's time that I take inventory, self-inventory. Maybe I should look at myself, and then maybe I should ask for help, and maybe I can seek help. And that doesn't always have to be help from your partner. It could be professional help. There's so many people that I've met, and a lot of times they didn't know that they needed help. They didn't know how to ask for help, and they were too proud to even reach out and say, I need help. Don't let that be you. Don't let yourself be your hindrance from growth, emotional growth, physical growth, mental growth. You're the only one standing in your way, not your partner. Your partner is not here to tear you down, even though I said there's exceptions to the rules. Your partner is not here to tear you down or break you down if they have your best interests at heart. It's time for you to not only take self-inventory, but it's time for you to reach out for help, because it can mean the difference between saving your own life or saving the relationship that you're experiencing or in right now. My name is Ingrid Felton. As always, thank you. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for stopping by and paying me a visit, because it's what keeps me going. And I hope that the content I provided today will get you off the couch. And if you're not on the couch, get you from wherever you are and reach out. If not to me, reach out to somebody else, but do it. Action. Action speaks louder than words. Bye.